Good evening, everybody, and welcome. Tonight, my old pal Chad and I are going to talk about something that's pretty common to almost every one of us, and that is our passion for the automobile. So, Chad, how are we doing tonight, brother?
Good, Paul. Thanks for having me on.
Let's see who we got. Into Trading. Hey, welcome. Calvin, thank you for joining us. Let's see who else we got in here. Grant QD. Clearwater Chat's here. Your Mojo, what's up, brother? Let's see. Hey, Dave, what's going on? But thanks for joining us. Lady BB and Tease Time. All right, folks. Thank you for joining us. This is a great one. We got Mini Chad sitting there with Chad tonight. So we're ready to get going on things. So, Chad, why don't you tell us about the first car you ever owned?
Okay, well, I had two first cars. I had a 79 Chevy with the V6, 200 cubic inch with the one barrel carb. That was a nice car. And at the
Did we lose you there, bud?
same time, I hoped
Okay.
that my cousin gave me. So I had those cars when I was 14. I started working on them, and then I started driving them when I was 16.
Wow. So, which one did you like best?
Well, the Renault really never made the road. I used to drive that around the block when I was 14 and 15. And
Wow.
so I drove the Chevy for a couple of years, and then that was cool. The 79 Chevy was a good car.
That's excellent. That's excellent. Which one lasted you the longest?
Yeah, the Chevy did. The Renault, I had to pretty much just call the junkyard for that one, but it was nice towing around with it.
Oh,
Little
man,
French car.
I've owned some pretty crazy ones in my day.
Yeah.
My first car was a pretty interesting story. I got my license, and I was actually on my way home. I'm going to turn this light down just a little bit here. I think it's a little too bright. I was on my way home in Dad's truck, and I saw a lady was pulling a tarp over a car in a driveway, and all I could see was that chrome bumper. And so I pulled in, and I saw that there was a for sale sign there as well. Couldn't make out what kind of car it was. I pulled in the driveway, real nice lady. She was an elderly lady, and we started talking, and come to find out it had been her son's car. He had gone off to Vietnam, never made it back home, and that her husband wouldn't let her sell it. He took it out once a week, drove it around the block. I'm turning my phone volume off.
Oh, yeah, no worries.
And just made sure everything was good with the car. It was in good shape. It was his last remaining remnant, of their son that that he had there. And it was turned out to be a pretty amazing find, because what it was actually a 69 Dodge Charger in that baby poop green.
Oh, wow. That's the one you were talking about. That's nice.
Yeah, except mine didn't have the vinyl over the roof. Mine was slick, just a disgusting color. But it had the 440 Magnum in it, and she said I'd worked my butt off. I'd saved every penny I had, and ended up. She said, "Well, how much do you want?" And I said, "Well, I've got this much money in the bank." And she said, "What'd you do for to get the money for that?" And I said, "Well, I cut grass. I worked at Big Boy. I did everything I could where I could make money, and that's pretty much what I've got. I haven't spent it on anything. No games, no toys, nothing. Every penny I've got is going into the bank." She sat there for a minute. She looked at me and she goes, "Well, you know what? That's amazing, because that's exactly how much I want for that car." Now, oh, wow. Okay. So I said, just cover it back up, take the sign off of it. I'm running to the bank. I'm going to go get my dad. We'll come back, and we'll, bring you the money straight away, cash money on it. And next thing you know, I go get my dad. He's like, I got to take a look at this, because I doubt it's going to be worth what you're going to be paying for it. We showed up. Dad's looking at it. He looks at her and he goes, "I'll give you double what you're asking from him." Yeah, my old man. So she looked at him. She says, "I made a deal with your son, and I stand by my word on things. I don't care how much money you're offering me for it. And quite honestly, I think it's a pretty shameful thing that you do your own child that way."
Wow.
And so that actually was one of the times I was pretty happy.
That's
The
amazing.
problem is my dad drove that car every chance he could get his hands on it. And one night I'd gone to bed. He was working midnights. He decided he was going to drive the Charger into work. Now, thing is, when I got it, he immediately made me take it over to his friend who owned a body shop. And the paint job on that car was absolutely ridiculous. The black that had such depth of clear coat in it, it looked like you were looking through 10 inches of ice looking down at the paint job on it. He painted this beautiful black, and then the next thing you know, he went in with the pearl, the pearl essence that they put into the paint.
Yep.
Masked it all out, and the whole, all the way down the sides, the hood, the roof, all the way to the trunk of it. When it hit the right light, it looked like you could see the spider webs that he had put in there in the pearl coat, and it was just beautiful. And then on the where the trunk bends down at the back of the car, there he had painted in there, hand painted "Bat Out of Hell." Man, I love that car. I didn't do anything else to it. I didn't do any mods to the engine, anything, exhaust, anything. I loved that car as it was, and it drank gas like it was going out of style. So the dad takes it. He decides he's going to drive it into work that night. Two kids are drag racing on the same road. They come around a corner,
Wow.
come head on. Corvette hit my dad head on. He ended up driving it off the side of the road and down a hill and rolled it 3 times.
Jesus.
Completely destroyed it. The only thing left of that car that was even usable was the engine and transmission in it.
Jeez.
Everything else was just destroyed.
Yeah, that's definitely really sad.
Yeah. Oh man, blew my mind.
Just so everyone knows, that's posed. He had the 440. That's the most sought after engine in that line. The car came with either 3 or 4 engines.
Well, the 426 Hemi.
Yeah. Okay.
Did that come in that model? I don't remember.
Oh, I don't know. I just vaguely remember there was at least 3 or 4. Maybe 2 V6s and 2 8-cylinders, and that was the better one. So that was
I know everybody was like, "Oh, got to have the Hemi." That Magnum, it ran like a scalded dog, man. Rue, thank you for the super chats. Your first car was a Mustang Ghia. Wow. Very nice, very nice.
Nice.
You know what I'd gotten for my daughter for her first car, and she never even. I ended up selling it because she wouldn't learn how to drive stick shift. Was I got her a Volkswagen, I believe it was called the Carmen Ghia. Let me see if I can find a picture of one real quick.
Wow, that's cool. I like all those cars where they didn't sell a lot of them, and they're just so unique.
Yeah, but it was so cool, and I got it for her, and it was in rough shape when I got it. So I ended up taking it to a friend of mine that has a body shop, and he ended up taking care of it for me. But man, it was such a beautiful little car. And I thought, for the first car for a girl, I would have thought it would have been heaven for her, but she wasn't down with it. And so I ended up selling it and getting another toy. But there's the Volkswagen car. What they look
my God. Wow.
Yeah. And the nice thing is I bought it for like $2,500 and sold it for a whole lot more.
I bet.
So, what was your next car after that?
Oh, let's see. I had a couple. I don't know if I remember the order, but I had. Oh no, I do remember. I had a Buick Park Avenue in 1985. I love that car. Very luxurious car, like a Cadillac, without the
Oh yeah.
Dealing with blah blah blah. It was a very nice car. I had that for a couple of years, and then I had some Pontiacs, and back when you can get a car for like $500.
Oh yeah. Well, my next car was a 78 Olds Cutlass Calais, and it had the 280 V8 in it.
Okay.
That was insane. That car, it wasn't fast, didn't have any great horsepower or anything, but man, it was a nice looking car, and it was, it was smooth. I really loved that car. Hey, Goldie, how's it going?
You said 70. Well, you said 79.
78.
78. So that was when they were messing with the emissions and stuff because of the gas crisis. I think
it was crazy.
They were underpowered. Yeah.
I had it was that car and the Monte Carlo had a lot of looks that they share.
Yeah.
Let's see here. We got Terry Ray's in here. Marjan's in here. Hey, Marjan. Catherine Gallagher, Kaz Ferns, Aaron, Terry Ray. Thank you, folks, for joining us. And folks, do me a favor, if you've got a question for me or anything, or for Chad, put the @ symbol and then POE, and then just follow up with your question, and we'll get to it. We'll start them as we go. Let's see.
I gotta reply to this one. Aaron says his first car was a 60. I know, but it's a very nice.
Ooh. Yeah, that was a beautiful. Well, you and I were talking the other day. I found next to a barn was a 1973 Chevy Nova with the straight six in it, and it was that nasty gold color they had back then. And what I did was, I asked the guy, said, how much you want for the car? And there was one of those, hey, you know what? The motors froze on it. If you can get that thing out of here, you can have it. So I went ahead and I called my buddy up. We come back with the truck, got it in neutral, and got her drug it home. We spent about the next 4 or 5 hours with a breaker bar and a big old socket on the end of it, and finally got that motor to free up enough. And then we got it started. It blew black smoke for about 20 minutes straight, and then it just, after that, you couldn't stop that thing. We went underneath of it, teenagers, hillbilly boys, rednecks. We ended up putting getting the suspension so it was higher off the ground, put truck tires on it and everything. I went in and masked off down the side of it, lettering, and spray painted it in black paint and called it the Beast.
Nice.
And, we off-roaded that thing. We took it everywhere we could go, and nothing would kill that car. And then one day I'd left for the Army, and my buddy Bobby, he was driving around in it, and he was coming home from work, pulls up at a red light, car coming the other way, guy's drunk, goes right through the headlight, comes over, red light, goes right into Bobby's lane, hit him head on, pushed the motor and transmission right into the back seat of the car, put Bobby in the hospital for a few weeks, and that was the end of the Beast, man. Loved that old thing.
Mm-hmm.
So what's Chaz over there doing?
Looks like he's getting ice cream. Why don't you come here and say hi, Chaz? There. Say hi.
Hi.
Hey, Chaz. say hi to everybody out there watching. Give them the.
He
Let's
wants
see
his ice cream.
Marilyn Honig. Duncan made me change from the Onion people to you guys. He loves car talk, and he's
nice.
Thank you, Duncan.
It's cool.
That woman. Don't let that woman on that thing on there. You take over now. It's your turn.
Yep.
So, your Mojo. My first car was a '69 Oldsmobile Cutlass convertible. Wish I still had it, man. I wish I still had half the cars I had.
Yeah, same here.
Aaron, what does your agency think about you talking about Scientology? Well, I'm retired now, and we own our own business, so I really, the wife doesn't like 90% of what I do because I'm crazy. So we've learned to agree to disagree. Marjan, you should never loan your car to anyone. I didn't have no choice. That was my dad. He just took the keys and went. Let's see. Yeah, I agree, Marjan, that he should have bought me a new one, but pretty much made it my fault on that one. One day I was walking down, I was on my way home from school, and I went by a body shop not too far from where we lived, and I saw monster truck tires sitting out front of that place. And I'm trying to find a picture of it. There we go. That's a good one. Oh, that's good. That'll work. Problem is that in the thumbnails, so many of these pictures look great, and then when you pull them up, they're like half an inch tall.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Here we go. So here it is. I see this, and I'm a teenager. I love monster trucks. I love all that stuff. So I decide that I got to at least take a look at this thing. And I go walking inside, and in the garage there sat Bobby Holman's Beast. Um, that was the first time I'd actually seen a monster truck up close. Uh, oh, Marjan. Let's see here. Duncan is lucky. I like you guys. He doesn't even know how to work the remote.
He's a good guy.
Well, and Marilyn, honestly, you're part of the family anyway. So let's see. Your Mojo paid 2,400 and had under 20,000 miles. Wow. My olds had, shoot, I think it had like 60,000 miles on it, and I paid $500 for it. And it was a guy down the street owned a gas station down at the end of the road, and
Nice.
look at this. All right, I'm on board now.
Nice.
Welcome, Duncan. So the I got it from him. It wasn't beautiful. Paint was faded, but it didn't have any rust on it. It was a clean car. The interior was really clean, and it drove great. Chad, you got some Perry's ice cream there?
Oh, Chaz was going to have ice cream. Now he's having pizza instead.
All right. I was like, Perry's ice cream. I don't even have any ice cream in here. Yeah, I love that. Love that Olds. That car drove wonderfully. But going by and seeing Bobby Holman started a passion in me that lasted for a long time. Here's one of my trucks. This was called the All American. It was a 1988 GMC Suburban. What I did was I cut the back of it off, where the the sports utility section behind the driver and passenger front seats. I went and cut that off and just welded everything together so it all fit nice and tight. A lot of people didn't even know it was a daggone Suburban, and I ended up putting school bus seats in the back of it, and there was one that sat facing out the back that sat right behind the driver and passenger seats of the truck, so I could put 10 people in the back of that at a time. And back then we were charging $5 a ride, and we'd do fairs and festivals, things like that, where they didn't have any real big entertainment going on. So that was something people like to see. And then we would have, I'd have the crush truck there as well, so I could do the car crushing and everything. After that, after I'd gotten, hanging out with Bobby, I'd started my passion with Monster Jam. This will give you an idea of the actual size of those tires. 66 inches tall. That's going to be 5 foot 6 inches tall, and then at 43 inches wide, almost 4 feet wide on those tires, weighing about 800 pounds. These tires you see there are called BKTs. They're specifically made for monster trucks, and they weigh lighter. They have stronger sidewalls on them. I've just never really been a fan of the BKTs because I don't find them they give as much traction as I liked. Picture me if you're familiar with Monster Jam at all. That's the Black Stallion truck, Michael Vaughters. That's me taking her for a ride in the stadium, getting her over to her place. Helped out with the Bounty Hunter team, worked with them during a few years with Monster Jam. That was actually the Bounty Hunter truck there that I was working on the tires on, and just a passion over, started out when I was young. I think 14 years old, I think, when I started getting into the monster trucks. And next thing you know, I'm out doing shows with them and having a great time. And it was, passion to this day. I still know quite a few guys. Charlie Pocken, who is a former world champion with Monster Jam, grave digger driver. He's now, I believe he's in Abu Dhabi right now over in the United Arab Emirates. They're over there doing shows. Just came back from South Africa. They did, I think, 2 weeks straight in 2 or 3 weeks in South Africa. And now they're over in Abu Dhabi. He drove Gravedigger for years. He was the man behind the Excalibur monster truck. And Charlie's he's insane behind the wheel of a monster truck. And that, he's had a real great career with Monster Jam. Unfortunately, due to his contract with Monster Jam, he's not allowed to do any interviews unless Monster Jam specifically approves it, and they won't allow last I heard, well, what I was told was they won't allow you to do interviews with anyone less than I think it's 120,000 subscribers. So, but I see Charlie pretty much when he's in town. Uh, Lord, I see him probably 2-3 times a week. Rue, my dad also got for me a yellow dune buggy. I ran it in our local pond with him. He said he had bad words while laughing. I was only allowed an automatic car from then on. So much fun. I had a '79 Toyota pickup. And that's back when it just said Toyota. It didn't even have a model on it or anything. And this thing, I got to find a picture of it somewhere. I know I have it back in the archives. Cool. The '79 Toyota pickup, and I put 44-inch groundhog tires on it. I redid the suspension and everything, put 44-inch groundhogs on it. With that stock Toyota engine in it, it would still smoke the tires in first gear. It was amazing. That little 4-cylinder engine could do that. Nice. All right, let's see. We got any questions up here? Go back. Tell us about some of your favorite cars you've had over the years there, Chad.
Oh, well, you brought memories to me because you had a '79 pickup. I had a '94 Toyota pickup, so it was probably a pretty similar vehicle. It had the lockout hubs where you had to get out in the snow and put it in 4-wheel drive.
Yeah, I had those in all my trucks almost. Okay. I've been trying to find a picture of it. I had one. I only had it for a few months, and I didn't realize the frame was rotten on it. But I had one of those International Harvesters, the one that was smaller than the Scout. It was a pickup, but it was a full body pickup like the Mavericks and the Honda Ridgelines, where there's no separation between the truck, the cab, and the bed. And you could actually take the top off the cap of it and make it into a convertible in the summertime. And that was just a cute little 4-wheel drive, great running little truck, but I didn't know it, but the frame was rotted out on it. Yep. We were out trail running one day, and literally the frame broke in two on me. So that pretty much ended that. And then that's when I ended up getting the Toyota.
Okay.
Let's see, you're a Mojo. What is your favorite ride? Mine was an '86 Harley Davidson FX RS Liberty Edition. Got it new. That's nice. That's a nice ride there. Let me see here if I've got it in my thingies here. Let's see. Hold on one second. Let me find a picture of my favorite baby that I had. I've had quite a few motorcycles over the years. You know, I've ridden pretty much everything. I had a '77 Shovelhead that was literally a basket case that a friend of mine and I put together. It was just, I loved it, but you ride it for 30 minutes and you had to wrench on it for 3 hours. And every time you parked it, it puked oil all over the floor. It was just more of a pain in the butt than anything else. I've had electric lights. I love the electric lights. I like stripping them down to just the fairing and the hard bags. And, but I like a clean, basic motorcycle. Normally, I was never into a lot of the flash bikes. And then I had an opportunity to buy a '93 Fat Boy. And it was a bit flashier than what I liked, but I couldn't say no to it. This thing was just gorgeous. Let's see here. There we go. Okay, now I can get you guys some pictures of it. Let you see. There we go. All right, let me get the first one up here so we can show Mojo. Okay, there's one. And that's how it looked when I got it.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, I mean, I bought it for next to nothing. It had the Magna charger on it. It had the straight pipes going out the back. As a matter of fact, I did change something. You can see it here in this picture. It had the short pipes that ended just past the the passenger foot pegs. And I changed those pipes out because I like the pipes that run all the way out the back. I don't like them shorten out like that. So let's see.
That's cool.
Let's see, Marshawn. Does anyone know how to drive a stick shift? Oh, yeah, that's what I learned on. You, Chad?
Not good. I don't drive them very good, yeah.
Here's a good one for you. That '79 Toyota that I had, teaching my wife how to drive stick, ended up she burnt out the first gear on it because she just couldn't get it. Couch.
I kept mine at
Welcome,
first
couch.
too when I had to drive. Yeah,
Oh yeah,
not
thank you
great
for that
for it.
super chat. My favorite car is a Ford RS. I had to get rid of it as my girl was having hip surgery. What is a Ford RS? Do you know?
No, it must be a different country. I would think.
It up real
Um,
quick. Oh,
yeah,
that looks like
yeah.
it
Let's see.
looks like the Escort or the Fiesta or Festiva or whatever they
Oh,
call them
okay.
nowadays. Let's see. Rally Sport is what it means. Okay.
Oh, okay.
See, I'm a big guy. I don't fit in those little cars very well, and that doesn't work out when you're a full figured gal like I am. Duncan, my first car was a '65. Oh my
That's
goodness!
cool.
Sold it after college for $50. Oh my
Damn.
gosh! Only part that wasn't smashed in was the roof. Yeah, believe
That's
me, I
cool.
know that. And Marilyn sent us a super chat. Thank you, Marilyn.
Oh, nice. Thanks,
Can't
man.
believe my eyes. Chad is monetized. Congrats, Chado. Thanks for all you do for us little people. Remember us when you're a billionaire. 10x it. That's awesome. Thank you,
Thanks. It
Marilyn.
is.
Focus. Okay, it's Ford Focus RS. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Now is that a U? Let's see. Oh, and you have a Rav4 now. Now is okay. That was the. So it was a U.S. model. It wasn't like a because I know in Britain they have different names for them. In Australia they have different names, and in Asia they have different names for everything. So it's crazy how all that goes.
Just be careful, everyone. If you buy a car from a foreign country and you bring it somewhere like the U.S., it is very hard getting parts for them.
Yeah. That's one of the things because I like exotic things, and boy, they get fun to find parts for. Marjan, why do you think American car companies are selling automatic cars only now, but in Europe they drive a lot of stick shift? Reason for that is a lot of the young kids nowadays they don't know how to drive stick. Matter of fact, I was at a um car theft meeting, and they were talking about one of the number one ways to save your car from being stolen is buy a stick shift.
Wow.
And that's the thing is that so few kids nowadays know how to drive a stick shift. They don't know how to handle it. My wife didn't know, and I had to teach her. I learned, and what was it? A Dodge Omni. My dad had bought a Dodge Omni for my mom because um, it was just a good little gas saver for her. And the thing is that that thing.
I remember those.
I hated that car so much. My goodness. Your Mojo. My wife got me a '63 Corvette Stingray for my
Oh,
40th birthday. Dude, she's a keeper.
yeah.
Marilyn. You hear that? See what Joe's wife got for him, and old Duncan's sitting there. Does he have a '63 Corvette Stingray sitting in his garage? You don't love that, man.
The '63 Mustang that was on Coffee
Oh,
and
let me
Cars with Jerry Seinfeld.
There we go. Let me get my microphone over here. That might help. There we go. All right. Can you hear me better now?
Yeah, you're coming in loud and clear, Paul.
Let's see. Terry Ray, I can drive a stick. Come in handy when we went to Ireland and rented a car sitting on the wrong side of the. Yeah, wow. I found that out a lot in Asia. Here's something that's interesting, and I found this out. Folks in Asia, when they're driving, they'll come up to a red light. They'll put the car in neutral. Even though it's an automatic, they'll put it in neutral, and then they'll pull the parking brake on it and sit there with the parking brake on. The light turns green. Release the parking brake, put it in drive, and take off. And I was like, wow. And that's the way they teach them is to do that to help save on the brakes. Let's see. So, yeah, and I know what you're talking about on the wrong side of the road. You jump in and everything is shifted. And you're reaching down with your left hand and you're trying to figure out how to, it's a lot of fun. Some things are in the exact same place as they were before, and then they got yeah. Let's see, your Mojo. You learn to drive with 3 on a tree. Oh, those are once you get to learn how to use those, I never had a problem with them. And the thing is that it Yeah, I was scared to death of driving a one with the shifter on the tree, but once I got there, man, it was great. I love them. I was telling Chad a little bit earlier. I have a Ford Model T pickup cab sitting in a barn. That's mine, and you know those things are made out of like 2-inch thick steel for the sheet metal. So it's got a real good patina on it and everything. I'm going to put that on a Suzuki Samurai chassis that a friend of mine has sitting around. Uh, if you remember the old Chevy Loves and the Isuzu Pups from back in the 80s, they had a 4-cylinder Isuzu diesel in those that made it up to a Chevy transmission. So I can put, I can, I got, I actually have 4 of those engines. They come off the old reefer trucks. They were using them in those for years to run the refrigeration system on them. And so I've got 4 of those sitting around. You can literally pick them up for $100. It's a little diesel engine. We're putting a turbocharger on it, doing a few other things. You actually have to go in and drill out so you can put a dipstick in them because they don't have a slot for that. But when we're done, that's going to go in there. That's going to be the power for the truck. I'm going to do a Beverly Hillbillies type bed on it, the metal frame with the wood planks in there and everything, and just leave it patina. I'm not going to worry about painting it up or nothing. It's just one of those funky little go-getters, you know.
That's cool.
I'm really looking forward when we start work on that. Let's see here, getting back through the questions. Let me know if you got any over on your side, Chad.
Oh, okay.
Let's see. Let's see, Duncan, have either of you ever lost the keys to a modern car, had to replace them? We narrowly averted that catastrophe recently. I got one better for you. I was working, if you've seen my video where I did the review of the Kubota tractor with the front end loader and the backhoe on it, I was driving around and the key came out and fell in our yard. Well, we got over an acre of property, and that was a lot of fun. We actually, thank goodness, our son had a metal detector, and we went out there. We sent him out back with it, just had him start scanning the yard. He finally came up with them. The price to replace that key was something like $500.
Wow.
So yeah, I know with my BMW, I had the BMW X3, and so what I did with that was with the keys on it, I wanted it came with the original set and a spare set, and they were just key fobs. There was no keys to the car. It had one where it would pop out in case you needed it if you locked yourself out of the car or something like that. But if you locked yourself out of the car, you would have the key fob with you to get that key out. So how would you be locked out of the car? Made no sense. But I went in to get a spare key made for that, and literally they just pushed it into some kind of holder, and it reprogrammed it for my car, and that still cost me like $300 for it. So let's see here. Let's see.
One thing I don't like about the modern cars is that you can't even get into them when the battery drains, and you gotta like be MacGyver.
Yeah, it's insane.
And, if I had to do that, because I have a Prius too.
How many of them don't even have like the keyholes? Just put the key in it. They don't even have it for the doors anymore.
Yep. I had to watch a YouTube video to do it once.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I've learned so much from YouTube. It's not even funny. Let's see, Marjan. I think stick shift is even safer for young people because you can't be on your phone. Believe me, these kids nowadays, they'll find a way to be on that phone.
Mm-hmm.
I watched a woman the other day. I was out doing the route with our courier service, and she was literally steering the car with one of her knees while she was putting her makeup on in the rearview mirror. And I'm like, people talk about cell phones. My goodness. Let's see, Marilyn. I'd consider it, but remember what happened to a 65 Plymouth. He's too much of a party animal for a Stingray. I think that he has matured tremendously. In all the years that I've known Duncan, he has matured amazingly. And I think that if anybody deserves a 63 Corvette Stingray,
I second that.
All the years of abuse he's put up with, and I think the guy deserves it. Silver Servant, welcome. Hola. Bought my first car. I thinking that's a 1977 Camaro with a 350 in it, because in 1777 the Camaro didn't have, I'm joking.
That's
But
funny.
that's an awesome car there too.
Yeah.
Car I always wished I had gotten my hands on was there we go. He was 17 years old with a 1970.
Nice.
Yeah. Car I always wished I got my hands on was a Smokey and the Bandit Trans Am. I wish I could have had one of those. My
Yeah,
word.
those were cool.
I've had pretty much all of my bucket listers. I bought a wrecked Lamborghini Diablo, and that was, got that bug out of my system. I've had the monster trucks. I've had the Harleys. I've had one of the best motorcycles I ever had was a Yamaha Roadstar 1600. And I bought it because they were so cheap. It was a 1600cc motorcycle, and I'd heard so much about them. With my Harleys, every year when winter would come around, I'd take the batteries right out of the bike, put it into the charger stand in the basement, hook it up on a trickle charger, let it go all winter long, go out. I'd have to work on the Harleys hour, 2 hours just to be able to get them started for the beginning of the year. That Yamaha, I put it in the garage, just parked it in there, didn't even think about it. Keys left in it, and came out in the spring. It started right up like it had never, like I hadn't missed a day with it. That bike rode unbelievably. And I tell you what, for the price, wow. Oh, I see Marilyn's covering her tracks here. What's going on here, Double Tap? It wasn't me. I didn't lose the keys. My son clipped both sets together and lost them. Thankfully, they were turned into the police. Saved us. Wow. Yeah, my good. What kind of car is it, Marilyn? Or Duncan, please. What kind of car is it? Because now she's trying to throw the kids under the.
I miss the '80s cars where you didn't even need a key. The cars were still the ignition.
Oh yeah,
you just
screwdriver in them. Yeah. Let's see. Irma. The only thing I know about cars is the difference between a Volkswagen and a station wagon.
Nice.
Well, cool. Yeah. Wendy Moore, thank you for joining us. Wendy, hi, Chad. You have totally cracked me up. Thought you were a real goofy cuckoo. SB, so funny. That's awesome.
Don't get me talking about cars. By the way, I gotta add this in. So any Knight Rider fans probably know this, but I'm a big Knight Rider fan. So the year and make of the Knight Rider car was it 1982, 83, or 84. Pontiac, Firebird, and Trans Am.
Kit, right?
Yep, Kit. Knight Industries 2000.
Silver Serpent, I genuinely passed up a guy yesterday on his laptop. A laptop. I'm not surprised.
Me either.
The things you see, your mojo has once locked in a car because of my wife. At the time, she was my girlfriend. Those are some of the funniest stories that you have. Are my wife was my girlfriend at the time, and then it just goes from there. Marjan, that Corvette are made in Kentucky, and we even have a museum. Yeah, over there. What is that? 64 going through that area? Is that 64? I can't remember. What 71, 64. But yeah, we take it when we go down to Nashville. When we hit Cincinnati, we jump over on 71, take it through Louisville, straight on down. Been to the museum. As a matter of fact, one of the guys I worked with, he had bought an 84 Corvette, and he was just in love with that car. He still got it. And I remember I had my own, a powder coating machine. So he had me do his heads up on it with red powder coat to match the color of the car. But yeah, I've been down to the museum. I remember when the sinkhole opened up underneath of it, and they lost all those Corvettes down in that deep hole.
Wow.
Oh yeah. If you've never seen that, let's see.
It's a good thing it wasn't an 83 vet, Poe.
Yeah.
People not watching, they didn't make Corvettes in 1983. It was the only year they didn't make Corvettes.
Is that what it was?
Yep.
Yeah, I think it was an 84.
Yeah.
Let's see here.
I worked in parts stores my whole, until recently. So
yeah,
those fun facts. People used to call and try to prank us needing parts for 83 Corvettes.
That's good stuff, though. You got to have fun with it. That's the only way. I got a picture of the Corvette Museum. They lost a crap ton of Corvettes down in that thing. I forget how much it was, but it was a lot of money got lost on that. Let's see here.
Wow.
Put it over there. And if you folks didn't notice it, it's kind of hard to see, but in the background behind the picture of Chad and I for the thumbnail for this was from the Woodward Dream Cruise. And if you've never seen or heard of the Woodward Dream Cruise, that is one of the biggest, yearly cruises that is held. It's right here in, goes through Detroit and the northern suburbs of Detroit along Woodward Avenue. It's a huge thing. And you see some of the most expensive, craziest cars in the world. So that was our background picture. And Chad, there it is when the sinkhole opened up, and you can see him pulling one of the Corvettes out with a crane there. Yeah. That was insane when that happened. I remember hearing about that, just millions of dollars in losses from that. So, and people are actually wondering if they were going to have to close up the museum altogether because of it, but they actually got it together. Your Mojo Knight Rider was a 1982 Trans Am. So,
well, I mean, if you visit the Knight Rider story, I'm not going to argue with I'm not going to argue with the subscriber. I don't want to get on that, but yeah.
So, were you a big fan of Airwolf?
I think I watched it a few times.
The helicopter?
They use Trans Ams on those too, or
no? The Airwolf was the helicopter one.
Oh, okay. No, I've only seen it a few times.
Oh, I love that one. Let's see here. Duncan Hogu. Mar's car was the one with the lost keys. Mazda CX-9. See, I knew it.
Wow.
Drives a Mazda. We almost had to have it towed to the dealer and paid $750 for new keys. Called the police department a second time. They've been turned in. That, you guys dodged.
Yeah, that's a good person that turned those in.
Kim, how are you doing tonight? Drove your mom's 7677 Datsun 200 SX, sweet car. Remember the old?
Wow.
What was the name of Datsun before?
Yeah, it was Datsun before Nissan. Yep.
Remember the Datsun? What was that? The 270 RX or the?
Yeah.
I can't remember what it was, but it's now the Nissan GT.
Yeah.
And man, I love those cars.
280, I think, wasn't it? The original one?
280 ZX. That's what it was. The Datsun 280 ZX. And that was man, I love those cars. They were fast. They call the GTs the poor man's Porsche nowadays, because you buy them for less than $100,000. I mean, they're used to be like in the 60 to 80 grand range, and they'll run with Porsche all day long. And it's Nissan, so it's a great build car. Silver Serpent. Oh yeah, Airwolf. Cool. Yeah, I loved Airwolf. On I think it was Saturday nights, I would go spend the night with my grandmother, and we would watch the Dukes of Hazzard and then the Hulk, or it was the Hulk, then the Dukes of Hazzard. And that was our weekend thing. It was man. The stories of your childhood.
Yeah.
Let's see. Terry 280Z. Yeah. Man, those were great little cars. I remember what was really big. A lot of the kids who had big money their family had big money when I was in high school, they all got those MG midgets. And I was like, how in the world? That's a go-kart. What are you doing driving that thing? Let's see here. I only learned to drive a stick at 12 because my mom bought a Toyota Celica. It was a stick. She had no idea how to drive it, LOL. So I learned and taught her. That's awesome.
Nice.
To this day, my mom can't drive a stick shift. The dad bought that Dodge Omni for her so she could learn how to drive a stick shift because it was great on gas and everything. And she never learned to drive it. Let's see. Rock out. They used to race the minor carb adjustment, and my mom's car flew. Oh, I bet.
Wow.
It's crazy how they do with a lot of these. They call them hot hatchbacks. The Focuses, the Toyotas, the Volkswagen. What is it? The Jedi, I believe it is, or the Golf. Man, those things. Talk about sleepers. Those were crazy little cars. Uh-huh. Your Mojo, my favorite TV shows were Rat Patrol, so Modified Jeeps. Love it. Yeah.
Wow.
I told the story. We did that engine I was talking about that comes out of the Chevy Love and the Isuzu Pup, and we did a conversion on I believe it was a '79 Jeep. I think it was a Wrangler, might have been the YT. I can't remember, but had a solid frame, and the guy had bought an all new fiberglass body for it. And we put one of those in there with a Chevy transmission, Chevy transfer case, because that's the problem with the Jeeps is the transfer case gearing is so low. That's why they get horrible gas mileage. So we changed out the engine, the transmission, and the transfer case. And that dude's getting like 50 miles to the gallon on the highway with that thing. It is crazy with that little diesel engine with a little tiny turbo on it. I mean,
That's cool.
I've seen computer fans that are bigger than that turbo.
Mm.
All right. Oh wow! Now you remember these? A Lacar.
Yeah, I love the
Let me
French
see if I can
cars.
find a picture of one of those. Oh my gosh, '82 Lacar.
That would be similar to my '84 Renault Alliance.
Was it? What was the? I'm trying to. I think it was called the Avante or the Alante.
Sorry, I'm
I
buffering.
think it was made in Texas, and pretty much you had to get. You went there and you got sized out so they could make your seats specifically for you.
Oh wow.
Oh yeah, Renault. That's what it was. The Renault Lacar.
Oh,
All right, we'll get that on there so we can show everybody.
that'd be cool to
Man,
see.
I haven't seen one of those things in years.
Me either.
Let's see. Give it a second to load up, and there we go.
Wow, that's cool.
Look at that fabric convertible on it.
Nice.
Ooh, man, that's crazy. Let's see here. Let's get back to the comments. Yeah. Let's see. We'll hide the current. There we go. Let's see. Gary Shields. Chad, are you saying you can't? Are you saying you can't get into the car if the battery is flat?
Yes.
On
For
some of
the
these
Priuses, yep.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. What about the Teslas?
Oh, I think this. I'm
Yeah.
assuming it's the same with those.
Everything on those is like touch or whatever.
Yeah, yeah. It's not that. I don't like that part of it at all.
Let's see. Rockout. I've always been a fan of unique vehicles. My first car was a '76. Oh man, the AMC
Oh
Pacers.
wow, I love the AMCs too.
Yeah, but they were like, what did they call them? That basically they were the grinder because if you got into an accident because of all that glass.
Oh, okay.
Irma. Okay, saying hi. Yep, the Renault Lacar. Let's see here. My mom bought a Chevy Nova after the Cecilia. I love that car. She then bought a Chevelle. My goodness. And she was 4'9" driving those cars around.
Wow.
I remember my dad got my mom a 78 Chevy Caprice Classic and pulled it in the driveway. And mom looked at it and she's like, if you think I'm driving that, because that thing was literally a boat. It was huge. Marilyn, nope, that was a Renault Lacar. So folks, put in here what your first car is with, what your favorite cars are. Let's talk about any of them.
Yeah, that'd be cool, guys.
Let's see.
Otherwise, I'm going to talk about my Renault.
I can still remember summer road trip around the U.S. with my dad and mom, and my little brother in a '71 Pontiac Le Mans station wagon.
Oh, those are excellent. We had a '70 Le Mans. Yep, that's cool.
I can remember because we had the place down in Key Largo, and then we started going to St. Augustine yearly in Florida, and that was our big Easter. What do we call it? The Easter break you get in school. So every year we go down to Florida, go down there, and then we go during the summer or whatever. But I remember riding back up, that shelf behind the seats between right there, you had that flat spot and then you had the back window. I can remember laying back there and sleeping on those trips. And we're talking 70s and 80s at these times. And they didn't have the big, huge freeways going where you needed to go back then. So you were literally doing a lot of the back roading and 55 miles an hour. Take you 2 days to get to Florida, take you another 2 days to get home. I remember my dad was just like, I'm done with this. From now on, I'm going to be, I'm just going to hot knife it and we're going to just drive straight back home. Whoa. Let's see. Rocky Kim. In 87, I owned an orange Pinto. Ooh. Well, but who am I talking about? I had baby poop green Dodge Charger. So let's see. Anaphylax says, hey, what's going on? Love cars. Finally got a fun, no room for kids. Jag. Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I always love Jags. I love the pre-Ford Jags with the side-by-side headlights, the round headlights in them. I love those in that green, that whatever that was, forest green or whatever they had. Let's see here. Look and see if we have any more questions. Joe McQuain, can't stay but wanted to say hi, and the one and only great Clearwater Chad.
Thanks. Guys are great.
Yeah, thank you everybody that joins us. Terry Ray Phillips said his first car was a 68 Volkswagen Bug. Wow. Yep, battery under the back seat. Started up one day and the battery had rotted out the floorboard, dropped down to the ground. That's not unusual. But the nice thing is on them stick shifts, battery's dead, push start. I can remember doing that. I can't tell you how many times I've done that. I've done it on tractors. So just have another tractor hook up with some chain, start pulling it, and then drop that clutch and watch that thing rumble to life. Let's see. I have the 04 XJ2, great driving car. Yeah.
Wow.
Let's see here. One with cats. First car was an 80s model of the Daihatsu Charade. Jealous? Let me see here.
I'm not familiar with it.
I'm going to look and see.
Yeah.
Datsun Charade. Or charade or whatever they call it. There we go. Ooh, yeah, that's right up there with the grand old. What was that? What was that little Russian car they were dumping in the United States there for?
Yeah, the Yugo, right?
Yugo, that's it.
Yeah,
yeah, that was. Oh my gosh.
That Malcolm Bricklin brought that to the United States.
A friend of mine had one of those, and that was the most horrible car I've ever seen in my life. That thing was just, it was not good.
Yeah.
But there we go. The Datsun Charade.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
That right there just says chick magnet all day long. Let's see here. I'm cleaning out some of these pictures here. Yeah. But, we were talking about, being over in Asia and the different kind of cars and things that they have over there. Just walking around in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, came across this. And at first glance, everybody's like, yep, it's a Suzuki Samurai. Then looking a little bit deeper, if you look just past the driver's door handle there, you'll see the back door handle. That's an actual 4-door Suzuki Samurai. They call them a Jimmy over there. And that thing has the back doors are suicide doors. So that was, and that's just, like I said, that's walking around in Kuala Lumpur. It's just parked there. Guy had to be in his 80s, was driving it, using it for his, picking up his stuff for his restaurant. And then I come across this.
Wow.
It's either a Land Rover or a Range Rover Defender. I believe it's a Land Rover. But, I mean, you're looking at this thing. I mean, my goodness, how clean is that? I'd love to get my hands on that.
Yeah, it looks very solid.
Yeah, we just I snapped a picture of Chad driving down the highway the other day in his new concoction.
It's funny because I've always wanted a 3-wheel car, Poe.
That's crazy there.
I think they're cool. I mean, not to drive every day, but they look cool.
That thing had to be 6 to 7 foot across at the front there. And homeboy was throwing that thing down the highway 75 miles an hour.
Wow.
And that was crazy.
I mean, you could pretty much just drive it on the edge of the street,
That was I'm coming up on it and I'm just like, what is that thing? Wow. All right, let's see. We got some more people telling us about their first cars.
Oh, I love hearing about all of them.
All right, tease time. My first car was a 77 Oldsmobile Delta 88. Woo, yeah, there's a boat. Yeah, love boat.
Yeah.
Could seat nice. More people than a bus. Yeah. Oh, those things were crazy.
They were fun to look up parts too because it's got 2 years. It's a 77, but it's an 88. So you got to make sure you get that right when you're looking up parts.
Majan, what was the craziest car you ever pulled over? Well, the two craziest I ever dealt with was I pulled over a $1 million Ford GT that one of the people from the Ford company was out with a manufacturer's plate on it. And we had a road in the city where I retired from that was called the Industrial Highway. It was all concrete road, and it was made for the semi trucks to keep them off the main roads of town. And this guy was out there doing about 100, 120 miles an hour. And I pulled him over, and I'm just like, dude, and I looked at him. I said, look, I get off in 10 minutes. If you can give me a good reason for why you were going so fast, then, I'll let you go. And he looked at me and he thought for a minute and he looked back and he goes, well, I saw you sitting there on the side of the road and I saw you pull out and I knew you was coming after me. He goes, I was married to this woman for 30 years. Most horrible person I ever met in my life. I finally divorced her and she ended up marrying a cop. And when I saw you pull out and come after me that fast, I thought you was trying to bring her back to me. So
that's funny.
But yeah, that, and I pulled over a Bugatti Veyron, which was probably at that time was about a $2 million car. But honestly, either one of those cars that they decided to run from me, there's no way I'd ever caught them. Not in some Chevy Tahoe. Anaphylaxis. My first car was a 73 Mazda RX wagon. That's actually kind of G. So
yeah.
Rhea Schleider, thank you for joining us. And I'm sorry if I butchered your name. My grandfather had a 55 Thunderbird. Wow. What was his name? There was an auto body guy in our town. He called me over to his shop one day and he says, I got something I want to show you. I come walking in. He's got this car under a tarp in his garage. He didn't want anybody seeing it. It was a 57 Chevy convertible. And he had found it in some woman's garage over in the west side of Detroit. He was driving by, saw it in her garage, went in and made a deal with her, had to tow it home. The motor was seized up. He ended up completely redoing that car. And oh my gosh, he sold it for a ton of money.
Wow.
Duncan, my brother Al, paid $100 for a 61 bug back 78 or so. We drove it all over the country in 83, 13,000 miles camping. He's still driving it at 200,000 miles. Oh yeah. And the thing is, you can replace anything on those Volkswagens. They're still in production in Mexico.
Wow.
And the parts are there for them. I remember when I graduated basic training, Fort Dix, New Jersey had a reassignment center where you could buy old military vehicles. Now it has to go through auctions and all that. But my dad ended up buying two of the Vietnam era Jeeps, the Willis Jeeps, that were military vehicles. And he rented a U-Haul and one of those tow bars so he could tow it home. The other one they put behind the family van and mom towed that home. Got back, got them both up and running real good. Kept one for him, one for me. Paid $150 a piece for them. All they needed was a radiator. Got them running, doing great. I had finished all of my advanced training and was going to be going to Fort Huachuca, Arizona for my advanced individual training, the AIT. And so I decided I was going to drive that Jeep from southwestern Ohio all the way to Huachuca, Arizona. And I had a couple of weeks to do it. I took my time, and I got to say, it was the most miserable, painful, beautiful, wonderful, most memorable trips I've ever been on in my life. I remember leaving out. It started raining on me. This thing had no top. All it had was basically like a roll bar in there. I stopped at a hardware store, bought a tarp, and duct taped that tarp to the windshield, of the top of the windshield. Ran it over the back, tied it down with some twine so it stayed on there nice and tight. Got some cardboard boxes, cut doors out of them, and taped them in place. And it was nothing more than just to deflect the rain off of me. But my goodness, it was painful, but it was my favorite journey of my entire life.
Wow.
You got anything like that, Chad?
No, but Apostate Alex is in the house. I bet he had a first car. I bet it was a British car.
That Ginger's in here? Where's he at? Hey, Alex, what was your first car, bud? Let's see. Let me get back to where I was. Let's see. Delta 88. There we go. All right. Get down here. Lonesome Squirrel, aka Bilf. Cobilf.
Wow.
My first car was a 95 Camry I bought from my parents, well over 300,000 miles on it before it stopped running. Those old Toyotas and Hondas, you could literally run them till the body rotted off of them and they would still keep driving. That's why that Suzuki Samurai, I want to put that Model T cab on it because that thing will never stop. The frame, the chassis, everything's in great condition. Silver Serpent. My mom had two brothers, so they would pass their cars down. We saw quite a few rides. Yeah, a lot of that. I never got the mom and dad hand-me-downs. Never got those. Every car I've ever had, I bought myself. Kim, Chevy Malibu is a great car. I heard they aren't making anymore after 24. I'll probably buy one. Malibu's always been a good car. They've always been one. Wasn't that the model that replaced the Chevelle?
It could have been. Mine was a 79 Malibu. That was a good car.
Okay. Let's see here. Anaphylaxis. I have never stopped a Ford GT. And this is the new one where the wheel well arches, rear wheel well arches come up in the body and there's that open space in them. And man, that thing was beautiful. Mid-engine, that big blower V8 in it. Let's see. Lori Plays. My first car was an orange 75 old Starfire hatchback. Wow.
Nice.
Yeah, them weren't pretty. When they started doing all that crazy stuff with those cars. Hey, Mandy, what's going on? First car was a canary yellow 73 Chevy Nova. I had one. I bought a truck from the original buyer of a 95 S10 to get better gas mileage, less miles than my 04 Mazda Tribute. Yeah, you know those Tributes, one of the bad things about those, they have plastic timing chains in them. I bought one of those Tributes and I was driving down the road and literally it just stopped on me. I had to put it in neutral to get it over to the side of the road. And once I tore it apart, found out the timing chain was plastic and had just melted. So coffee first, please. Yes, amen to that. My first car was a 65 Chevelle. Well, you're like me. You couldn't have walked into much better on that one.
Right.
Marjan, what do you think is the safest car to drive today? Oh, Lord, I don't know. I would say any of the BMWs, the Mercedes, they all seem to have. I remember I have friends that are engineers of Ford, and they said, if you're wanting to see what is going to be the standards in the next 10 years, look at your Mercedes and your BMWs. So let's see. Wow. Anaphylaxis. When I was little, my mama had Austin Healey Roadster. Wow. You don't hear about much of those. It was her first car. My dad traded it in for a Gremlin. I don't even want to talk about that. Let's see. Lonesome Squirrel. My dad had a 54 that he restored with all original parts. It had 3 on the tree and transmission, still sitting in my mom's garage. Yeah, keep that. I'd be out driving it around. Let's see. I want a Vanderhall Blackjack. Okay, got to find it. Let's see.
I'm not familiar with that.
No idea. Let's see. Vanderhall Blackjack.
Interesting.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's crazy. Chad, you'll like that.
All right.
Trying to find yeah, that one should work. Let's see. There we go. Okay, let's pull that up. That's just crazy. That's right in your category, Chad. There you go.
Oh, I do like stuff like that. I really do like the 3-wheel cars. Yep.
What are those ones that they've got out now that everybody drives around, the 3-wheelers that look like almost like a look like almost a sports car, but it's a 3-wheeler, and you buy them at like the off-road shops where you buy the dirt bikes and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think I know what you mean, but I never looked into those because I live in Clearwater, Buffalo, and you need an enclosed car.
State Alex, I live in London. We don't drive cars here. We have the tube.
It's cool.
Wow, Mr.
It'd be nice not to have to drive a car, even though I probably still would.
Yeah, it wouldn't work for us. We got a courier service. That's our job.
Yeah.
Is we drive hundreds of miles a day. Peace and love too. Always thought Chevy SS was very sexy, but maybe it was all about the village. Yeah, those things have they bring back memories. Believe me. Remember the Chevy 2, which became the Nova?
I don't think so.
Let's see if I can find it. There we go. I know when you see a picture of it,
Yeah, yeah. Let's
you'll
see what
recognize.
year we're talking about here.
Yeah, let me find a decent picture one. I think that one will have to do. All right, there we go. Of course not. That's how it goes. Yeah, friend of the family had these, and they were just the beautiful little cars. They're nothing like the Novas and how they look nowadays. All right, that'll work. Gotcha. Okay, let's get that out there so we can show everybody. Yeah, the Chevy 2. Wow. They're beautiful, beautiful cars. And they actually ended up becoming the Nova after time. All right. And there we go.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But they weren't
Cool.
big muscle cars. They were they were small. And I remember having fun trying to get into one. Let's see here. So
Cool.
just let me find some more stuff here. And here and being around Detroit, you see the craziest things on the road. Like this, right down the road, a buddy of mine owns that. It's of course a replica of the the original Batmobile. Give me 1 second. Roscoe is going nuts about something.
All right. Thanks for being with us, everyone. This is a lot of fun. I haven't thought about my old cars in a long time. Roscoe wants to go out. Yeah, it'd be nice to have the option like Alex does to where if you don't want to take your car, you could take the tube, they call it, which I'm assuming is some kind of train. No, that's Poe's dog. Aaron, I wanted to say your car, 69 Nova, that's cool.
Come on, knucklehead.
I was trying to say that earlier.
Since he's being a little batooty, there's a cat next door, and let's see if we can get him around to where everybody can see him.
Oh, nice. Hey, Roscoe.
Yeah. So there's Roscoe for everybody. You give me kisses? Huh? No kisses? No? No kisses? There's a cat walking around, and he goes nuts trying to get at that cat.
Oh, I bet.
So, someone was asking about trucks. That was one of my last 2 trucks that I've had. 04 Ford F-250 had the 6.0 diesel in it. Took out the EGR delete system in it. 4-inch exhaust with no muffler on it, straight from the turbo back. And we put in the coolant filtration system. That thing, it'd pull a house down.
Wow.
And but it was great. I love that truck. Trying to find a picture. I got this new computer, so I wasn't able to pull up a whole bunch of them. I'm still sorting through all my old files. But I had a 1985 Ford F-150, which was the last truck I had. I got rid of that just a couple months ago. Guy made me an offer on it that I absolutely couldn't refuse. But that was a great one.
That's cool.
Let's see here. Postate Alex. However, the first car I ever drove was my dad's Vauxhall Zafira. Oh, man. Thank you, son.
Wow.
Followed by a bunch of hatchbacks, Ford Focus. Yeah, you guys tend to go with the smaller kind of cars over there. Let's see here. Karen C. My dad had a 75 dark blue Volvo. Yeah,
Wow.
those were like pimp mobiles, those Volvos. Everybody loved those things. Um, when I
Absolutely.
bought the BMW X3, I was looking at and I love weird exotic things. I was looking at Saab, and someone said, "Don't." Saab went out of business. You can't get parts for them anymore. I didn't even know you couldn't even get them. You couldn't get them new. I didn't know they'd gone out of business. Paul stated Alex Vauxhall is called Opel in the U.S. Yep. Safira is one of their family cars, a six-seater. Six-seater, that's a big car. That's good for long drives with kids, etc. Yeah, it's like what was the Wally Mobile in Vacation?
I think that was Oldsmobile, maybe.
Was it?
I
I
mean, it's
just
heavily
know that was,
modified, so you can't really tell, but you
yeah.
know,
The 4 headlights on each side. That thing was
yeah.
nuts.
There's no way none of that was original.
But tell me that wasn't how it was back in that time.
Right? Yeah, you had the wood grain and
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, everybody had those crazy cars. Willie Weed, welcome, Willie. The other brakes went out going to, oh, let's see, I missed one from you. Let's see here. Oh, there we go. My dad was driving our two Volkswagen 60s Beetles sitting at a one of our two, sitting at a red light over the interstate when someone knocked on the window, telling him his engine's on fire. Yeah, I've seen that. That's not unusual. Oh yeah, believe me, being a cop, you see cars catch on fire for the craziest stuff. Alex, my dad used to have a Marcos, and I'm going to Google it.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with a lot of those British cars.
Let's see if I can find a picture of it.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay. Let me see. Well, these are all Wikipedia pictures too. Those are some crazy looking cars. Wow. There we go. Okay, let's get her loaded up in here. I didn't know what those were called.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with these. Oh wow.
I
It
know
looks
you've
like
seen
cool
them.
cars.
I've never seen one in person, but
It
wow, that's insane.
is. It's cool.
Let's see. Japan to Green Gables. I'm not from Japan or Honolulu originally, but I lived in Honolulu for 6 years. Live near Nova Scotia now. Wow, that's long.
Wow.
That's some territory up there. Did you still want me to email you? Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I'd love to hear this story. Let's see.
Cool.
Tease time. Second car was a Volkswagen Fox. Man, I don't remember those. Ice cold AC, great to drive in the snow. So light, it drove off the top. So light, it drove off the top of it. Lapped mini Jeep, truck, SUV in snowstorms. Oh, okay, I get it. You drove right on top of the snow. Used to wave a safe harbor.
Wow.
Anaphylaxis, thank you. The slingshot, the
Yeah.
three-wheeler.
Yep.
Yeah.
Those are cool.
Whoa. Did Robin Reliant? Have you ever seen those, Chad?
No. At
Oh
least
my
I
gosh.
remember what they look like. Yeah.
Man. I got to drive in one, and I almost wet myself.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see here. Let's see if we can get. Yep, that's about as good as we're going to get. Of course not, and of course it is. Just trying to get it so it's viewable here. There we go. Man, Robin Reliant, talk about bringing back memories.
Yeah.
All right, now we'll get her loaded up. Get her put in there. That's
I haven't thought about these cars in years, guys. This is cool.
Let's talk about a trip down memory lane here. All right.
Oh wow. Okay.
Three-wheeler, but it was three-wheel with the front being the single wheel. Talk about, man, those things. And if you look them up, you'll see those things a lot of rollovers in them. I drove one, and like I said, I almost wet myself. They were crazy. All right, let's get back into
That's
these
funny.
questions and comments. Yeah, let's see. How far back are we? Man. So you got any other good stories there, Chad? Hey, Brock. Looks like Chad froze up on us. Wow. Let's see. I'm trying to get back to
Oh,
where you
sorry,
were
I
there.
was,
There, slingshot. There
yeah,
we
sorry, I
go.
was buffering.
That's all right.
Oh,
Uh, let's see. Coffee, please. It was a hand me down from my husband. He got a 73 Nova Midnight Blue. Ooh, boy.
that's
I
cool.
love I love those 73 Novas, man. Those were just man.
Once you
Aaron,
get to 75, they put all those emissions in them.
yeah. Well, they started going nuts after that. Yeah, I remember the Plymouth Roadrunner. Believe me. Um, and Goldie wants to know we have a car called Opal in the U.S. I don't know if we actually had any dealers or not, but you got a lot of cars came over from across the pond, and we had all different kinds of crazy cars out here. And a Lexus, always one of those little Novas. Yeah, the Chevy too, man. And they would put huge motors on them like they did with the Pintos and the Mustang 2s. They put the big blocks on them and everything. Those things were just speed demon. Oh, here we go. Wendy Moore, and welcome. I had a 66 Le Mans. My boyfriend had the twin. Wow.
Wow.
66 G. He had the goat. Come on.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, those were
Let's
excellent.
and yeah, for those of you who don't know, the tube in London is their underground subway system there. Colonel Brock, Karen C, Puppy Alert, yep, Roscoe. Let's see, Buffalo has a subway system.
Oh, it goes like 10 feet. It goes like
Oh, okay.
half a street. Yeah.
Let's see. Oh, Irma had a Ford Falcon. Remember those?
A little bit.
Man. Brock had a 64 Rambler, 3 on the tree.
Wow.
Kitty Mom, howdy. Hi, everyone. A little late for tonight. That's all right. Hey, thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
Peace and love too. An F-350 crashed horribly down into my yard, totaled the truck, but the driver and passenger walked away with barely a scratch. I'm telling you, with my 250, uh, if I'd been in an accident with it, I probably wouldn't have even felt it. That's a big, heavy truck there. So yeah, they're made to take some impact. Good friend of mine down the road, he's been in Monster Jam way longer than I was. He has a excavating company. They do landscape supplies and stuff like that. He had the exact same model and year F-250 that I had, same motor and everything. And our friends that are engineers in Ford, well, they came over and they brought him a surprise one day. They had brought him the new front end, the whole new front end from the what is it? The Excursion. It's the big SUV that Ford had at the time, and they bought it. They gave it all to him, and it literally all bolted right onto that F-250, and it, man, you talk about a slick looking truck. Let's see here. Lori plays. Never saw a car catch fire, but I was sure as heck dispatched to Rob. Oh yeah, yeah. I've seen them literally catch fire. I've been in. I've seen like the Lambos and the Ferraris where they would the flames coming out of the exhaust. I've been there and actually seen them catch fire. It's crazy. Oh yeah, drove one. Yeah, when you were 19. Yeah, they were amazing. I love that little thing. I barely fit in it though. Let's see. Trying to get down here, see what we got. And remember, folks, if you got a question for us, just throw in there the @ symbol and POE right after it, and we'll get to it in the next 6 hours as I get through these. Let's see. I had an XCHP car. Don't recall the make. Those were CHP. I believe those were they were using the big Chryslers there for a while, and then they went to the Fords, if I remember. Still had cop suspension and a monster engine. Yeah, we had those cars, man. They could take a beating in 5. A Sinclair C5. Man, you're just trying to get me to find some rare stuff. Let's see, Sinclair C5. I'll get out of here. What? There's a guy that I knew. He was a body shop guy, and he has one of those. I can't remember what they call it. I think it was a Lord. The front of it opened. That's how you get into it. Is the windshield and the grill and everything opened up, and that's how you climb into it. All right, Jed, this is for you because I have a feeling this is going to be an electric car.
Okay, great. I love electric cars. Trying to get Poe to buy an electric car, guys.
Well, with right now with the courier service,
Yeah.
they just wouldn't do any good.
No,
we
I
wouldn't
know.
be able to use.
I'm just joking.
There you go.
Well, that's
There's
cool. I never seen that thing. That's cool. I would drive that in real life, guys. Just I don't know where Chaz would go, but I would drive it.
That's weird. If you look where the handlebars are.
Yeah.
And then it's got pedals up front. I guess it's like a bicycle, electric car or something.
It's cool, whatever it is.
I don't know, man. Yeah, I don't know. I'm one of those that I'm really into, crazy exotic kind of cars. So that's
yeah, me too.
That's up my alley. Don't worry about that.
Yep. Even though they are hard to get parts on, I still love anything exotic.
Let's see. I'm trying to.
I love the old 1970s city cars that were electric. They look similar to that, a little bigger.
Oh yeah, I remember those. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember our department had, the old meter maid 3-wheelers. Our department had one that was battery operated. It was strange. It didn't do very fast, but Chad Poe should have their own cop procedural show. The adventures they would have. It could be part of the upcoming fall SPC TV lineup.
You never know.
Calzone. Actually, I'm going to be starting. If I get everything ready, I'm going to be starting Monday. I'm going to go 30 days straight. Going to be going on at around 6 p.m. every day and doing a live stream where I'm going to do reactions and talking about anything that would be police officer related, whether it be cop videos or court videos, Karens, those kinds of things. This anything that police would be involved with, I'm going to be doing reactions to them, talking about them, and talking about it from point of view of 32 years in law enforcement, all the way from a probationary police officer to chief of police. So I've held pretty much every position there is, and I'm going to use that as my reviews on looking at these videos. And like I said, it's going to be 30 days straight of it. Cool. Silver Serpent. An 84 Camaro saved mine and my toddler son's lives after a big transit bus T-boned us. Then we bounced off a telephone pole. Car was totaled, but we walked away. Yeah, those older cars. I did a monster truck show in northern Michigan back in the early 90s. And they had all these cars were from the 50s and 60s. And here it is. We're taking, we'd all gone over to the lighter weight trucks, the tube frames from the old big 18,000 pound monster trucks. Everybody was trying to get as light as they could, get as close to that 10,000 pound mark. We were hitting these cars and we weren't denting them. They wouldn't crush. It was one of the craziest shows I've ever seen. And oh, did that hurt. Let's see here, Alex. For context, I just got an Uber home from work. The drive was 12.4 miles, took an hour and 20 minutes. Wow. At 1 a.m. I imagine it's like a normal time of day. This is why, I mean, and I understand completely. It's like great examples are Tokyo and Bangkok. Driving around Tokyo, driving around Bangkok, you're out of your mind. Jump on the rail line and you're good to go. Marjan, what would be your next road trip that you would want to do? Well, I'm already working on a couple of them right now. Originally, I was going to go from the very top of Thailand down to the very bottom. Talking with some friends and some things that they want to do. We're now trying to plan it out. We're going to start at the Chinese border at the northern point of Vietnam. Go to Ho Chi Minh, go to Hanoi, and then all the way down the coastline to Ho Chi Minh City. Going to take that up and go straight through Cambodia into Laos, go to the very northern tip of Laos, come back into Thailand, and take that all the way down through Thailand into Malaysia, and then finally ending up going into Singapore and stopping at the ocean there in Singapore. We're looking at probably about a 2 or 3 week ride just by itself. And then you add in everything else. But that's the one I'm working on. I'm working with a couple of the motorcycle manufacturers over there and seeing if we can get a sponsor to back us for it. And seeing if we can get Chad to learn how to ride a motorcycle, then we'll be in good shape.
I'll follow you in my three-wheel car, Poe.
We'll put you in a tuk-tuk. Let's see. Lonesome Squirrel. If you're ever in Fairbanks, Alaska, we have a surprisingly awesome classic car museum. Lots of rare and really old cars in good condition. That's awesome. Yeah, next time I'm there. If you, what is this? Apostate Alex just Googled it. The Sinclair C5 had a range of 20 miles, powered by a 250 watt, 12 volt LED lead battery. And top speed of 15 miles an hour in 1985. It was a power assisted pedal. That's crazy. But that's, hey, that's, it's innovation like that get us to where we're going now. It's just some of those vehicles were so far ahead of their time. They weren't practical. Let's see, Fairbanks like a good car. Oh, yeah, here in Detroit, a lot of people don't know it, but Jay Leno actually has a warehouse that's full of cars here in Detroit. It's under 24-hour armed guard. Been up in there, some crazy stuff.
Wow.
Place in the city I originally retired from, River Rouge. There is a shop there called Styline Customs, was originally owned by Chuck Miller. And if you Google Chuck Miller custom cars, it'll show you what he's done. They actually devoted an entire weekend to him at Autorama here one year. And one of the cars he built, I think back in the 70s or 80s, just sold at the Mecum auction, I think for $1.8 million. Just some crazy stuff. Well, the new guy that owns it, Mike, called me over one day. I went walking in and he pulled the curtain back, and there was this piece sitting on the ground. He says, "What is that?" And I said, I know what it is. I just can't figure it out. It was the nose cone on from one of the Batmobiles, from like the Michael Keaton Batman or the Val Kilmer Batman. Those Batmobiles that had the crazy futuristic bat look to them and everything. But that was that was the kind of cars you'd see in there. It was nothing to see when Chuck was running the place. You would see the Ford PPG semis pull up in front of his place, and they would unload just bunches of Ford Mustangs that he would take in and paint. And while he was doing that, the rest of them, I think they were going to Roush Racing, and Roush was doing the motors up for them. And what it was is they were all pace cars for NASCAR for that year. And it was, just the kind of history that was going there. What's Mini Chad's favorite car?
That's you throw me off, Paul. That's a good question. He likes the Teslas. He likes anything electric. So he just like the main Chad.
There you go. Oh man, the legend himself.
Oh,
Mr. Nasty Nathaniel. When I was a kid, my dad had a 68. Man, another goat.
Cool.
Ah, dude, man, I hate you. Let's see here. Here we go. Thank you for the super chat, Alex. If you could drive one car for the rest of your life, what would it be? Dodge Viper or Lotus Elite? What about you, Chad?
I would take the Lotus. I love the late 70s, early 80s Lotuses.
Yeah, I'd have to go with that too. I'm not a big fan of the Viper. It's just a kill machine to me. Yep. I rode in one. I got to drive one of them. And do you think the Corvettes have the slop back end because they have all that power and weight in the front? That Viper was worse than that.
Well, I love any car that. Sorry to cut you off. I love any car that they didn't make a million of them, like the Lotus. They made,
Plymouth Prowler. I wouldn't mind having a Plymouth Prowler.
Yeah.
So AMD says we're going to have to get a motorcycle with a sidecar because of defund the police. I'm pulling up a picture right now of what a tuk-tuk. So
Mm,
Chad can you can know what you can drive over there in Asia.
okay.
Let's see. There we go. Cool. Yeah, these are all over. You have to be careful when you're in Thailand because they will literally they'll scam you. I've been in one of the tuk-tuks. I literally had to go about a kilometer away. And the guy says, "Oh, sure, I can do that for you, and I'll do it for 20 baht, which $1 is like 40 Thai baht. So we're talking like 50 cents for this ride." And we're going, and we pass by, and I'm like, "What are you doing, dude?" And we pull up at a shop, and it was a jewelry shop and all that. And it was one of those where you tell them you want to go somewhere and all that. And they're like, "Yeah, I'll take you there." And they end up taking you to a friend's store that they get paid to take you to, try to scam you out of a bunch of money. I literally got out, threw $1 on his lap. I held up a big wad of cash and said, "I was going to pay you $20 for that ride, but you decided you were going to try to scam me on it." So,
Oh,
and this is Chad's newest ride.
nice.
Tuk.
Not bad at
And
all.
believe me, I've ridden in them like that. And what's crazy is they'll put like disco lights in them, big sound systems and everything. And they're crazy. They're literally just motorcycles. Let's see here.
You know what car I would? Oh, you can read that one.
What's that?
You know what car I would love to have, even though I don't buy gasoline powered cars anymore, is the 1980s Toyota vans before they called them Siennas. You remember those? They were like it looks like a spaceship.
I'm trying to remember
I forgot
the
what they're
Pontiac.
Privia. No, the those were pretty cool too. But the Privia, the Toyota Privias, those are really really cool.
Privia.
Yep, Toyota Privia, man.
Privia. There we go. Oh yeah, I remember those. Yeah,
Yeah, those
because
are cool.
they look like the front end of them was round.
Yeah, it was a really unique vehicle.
Yeah, I actually dug those. Those were pretty cool.
Yeah, me too.
Let's see.
They didn't sell to fortune. They were pretty expensive back in the day.
And where's the? This is what Alex's dad has. I'm trying to find a decent. There we go.
It sounds interesting if it's a Lotus Elite but sexier.
Well, wait a minute. Lotus Elite, but sexier. I read that.
Yeah, it's up on the screen there. Yep.
There we go. Images.
For a while, Toyota's making.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is sexier than the Lotus Elite. That's for sure. Okay, so I'm gonna get your.
They were putting Toyota engines in those Elises for a little bit there. There you go. That's the Privia. Isn't that thing great, guys?
I thought those. Yeah, they looked futuristic in their own time.
Yeah.
I like those. And here is the VX 220. And I got to say, yeah, for compared to what the Lotus Elites looked like at that time, that is a lot sexier. Is your dad like 4'1"? Be able to fit in that thing? I mean, wow, that's tiny.
That's cool, though.
Let's see here. Okay. All right, love it. Well, thank you for joining us tonight. We really appreciate you coming in. Let's see if we got any more comments going down here. Let's see. Yeah, rickshaw. No, I ain't driving. My days of doing stuff like that. Let's see. We need to get a Vanderhall Speedster. What do you think? I've never heard of a Vanderhall Speedster.
Me neither.
Oh, okay. I see what that. Whoa, that's crazy. Wow. Give me a second here.
Yeah, take your time, bro.
Let's there we go. That's the Vanderhall Speedster.
Oh wow.
That's a 3-wheeler. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've never really been a big person on those the 3-wheel cars, after being in the Robin Reliant, my gosh, and that thing tried to kill me every time I tried to turn a corner. Oh, let's see. Where was okay. Also had a little red wagon. My puppy and I drove around in it. My goodness, the Dodge step side little red wagons. Oh, those are worth so much money. Peace and love too. Let's see. Trying to find your comment before that. What's your reference to the TARDIS there? Peace and love. Let's see. Yeah, that TARDIS. My gosh, I love that. I used to love Doctor Who. Um, ooh, yeah, Chad. You're 10xing it, and
I know.
Mojo would love to have a Bugatti Chiron.
All right, Bugattis for everyone.
You get a Bugatti, and you get a Bugatti. Yeah, like crazy stuff.
That's funny.
What's everybody's favorite current car that's out there right now? What about you, Chad? You start us off.
I mean, if money was no
No
object, I would get it. I'd get a Tesla.
You like one of the high end Teslas?
Yeah, Model S. And then
My
when
problem-
the Cybertruck came out, I would get a Cybertruck. I know. I knew you wouldn't like the Cybertruck.
Oh,
Paul.
that hurts. That hurts me. I can't believe you did.
I know.
You know what I don't like about the low level to mid level Teslas is that front end looks so crazy without any kind of grill. At least in the higher end ones and the newer ones that they're making now, they put a pseudo grill there, and I like that. Right now, I'm really digging the new Ford Broncos, not the Sport Edition, but the classic version that looks like the old Broncos. The wife and I have been talking about it. I'm going to end up probably getting a one of the, and we'll get one 2-door matte black finish, and pretty much just stock. I'm not looking for anything else. They come stock 4-wheel drive and everything. So
That's cool.
I just love the look of them. I love the utilitarian aspects of them and everything. So they're pretty cool. Yeah. Thoughts on Aston Martin? Never been able to afford one. Would love to. I've driven one, but I've never been able to afford them. So I really don't know. I haven't had a lot of experience with them. So it would be it'd be interesting to see. It's like you got the Aston Martins, and what are the Maseratis they've really become. You see them out a lot more than you used to, but the Aston Martins are still really up there and high. Let's see here. Peggy Broad. Welcome, Peggy. Oh, man, I drove all the way across the country way too much for a Tesla. Yeah, I bet. Now, were you driving a Tesla and that's what you ended up with? Or, you had to keep stopping. How often did you have to stop for recharges? How long did it take? Or did you drive across the country to go pick up a Tesla? So,
yeah, let us know because I'm interested.
Yeah, I'd really like to know that. Alexander, my favorite car is a Jaguar F-Type. Yeah,
nice.
What is that? The James Bond model? What was the James Bond model that Sean Connery drove?
Oh, that I don't know.
Let's see. As a kid, I remember falling in love with a Corvette after watching Death Race. Oh yeah, that was a good one. Does anybody remember the movie with Mark Hamill, Corvette Summer? You remember that, Chad?
No.
Mark Hamill was a what do you call it? He was a high school student working in the shop in school. They built this Corvette completely jazzed out and everything. Someone came and stole it, and he goes on a road trip across the country to get it back. So stupid movie, but man, that Corvette for its time, that was the bomb. Let's see, Marjan, I would want either the most safe SUV from whatever the most safe SUV is from Mercedes-Benz. Was that like a G-Wagon, Chad?
That sounds right. I don't really know that much about Mercedes, but that sounds right.
Yeah. I've been a BMW guy, not a Mercedes guy, because I know that Mercedes are divas. They need a lot of work. And that's like with the Audis for years. Audis had horrible problems with their transmissions, and you'd see these Audis that were, huge money cars on sale on like Facebook, eBay, and things like that, and they were wanting, really low prices for them. People, I couldn't figure it out, and then realized people buy them, and they'd pretty much dog-legged them together so that they would run good for a test drive. The minute they got them home, that transmission started acting up, and it cost almost as much as buying a new car to get that transmission replaced. Peggy Brock, welcome. I always wanted a Wrangler my entire life, Daisy Duke style. Yeah,
Nice.
that's cool. The problem with the Jeeps is that they rot out so bad. What up, Chaz? Let's see. AB, my favorite car is a Subaru Legacy 2011, my current car. Those Subarus, man, those things run forever. Our problem here in Michigan is everything rots because of all the salt. How's it there in New York?
Oh, same deal, Poe. Yeah, absolutely with the salt. Yep.
Oh my gosh. The new thing is if you look at the pickup trucks, those guys have those caps over the wheel wells now. They're black and they look like they're bolted on and everything. And what they're doing is they're hiding all the rot from the rust with those things. Let's see here. Colonel Brock, Austin Healy. I haven't heard of those in a long time, but yeah, those are good cars. Hard to find parts for, if I remember. I don't never had a favorite car as long as the tires weren't flat. I was fine. That's my wife, her dream car has always been a Jaguar, and that's what we're going to end up. What I want to end up getting her is a nice Jaguar, something to a new Jaguar. Oh yeah, Anaphylaxis. You remember Corvette Summer? Yeah, that was. I remember going to the drive-in and seeing it. Let's see, Peggy Brott. No, I was saying I can't have a Tesla. I travel way too much. Oh, okay. Chad, what Peggy was saying is can't have a Tesla because she travels too much.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's understandable. They're not.
But for local stuff, and if they come out, I don't think they've announced the name of the model, but they're supposed to be coming out with that new model. It's supposed to be in the $20,000 range, and with the new innovations, I mean, if you don't realize what Elon Musk and Tesla have done with the batteries, is they've come up with a new battery style that they're using in the cars, which allow them to get better mileage and stuff. It's some interesting stuff that's going on over there.
Yep.
My problem is, and I'll tell you, I hate this about so many things, is these new things coming out with cars. Say if you have a BMW and things like that. Goldie, I starred a message if you could boot that. And here, I'll take care of it right now. There we go. Cool.
Yeah, I don't like everything about the new cars. Like I said earlier, Poe, about the, I also have the Prius too, and I let the regular battery die, and
Yeah.
I had to get a new battery, which is fine. But now I did that, and now it's got to go to the dealer because I let the regular battery die, and now it says service the high voltage battery. There's nothing wrong with it. They just want to make money, and
Yeah, it's. I know how it is. I'll get into that in a minute here. Alex is wanting to know about the TVR Tuscan, and I've seen them. I have no idea about that car. I've seen them. I think it was on Top Gear that I saw it.
it's cool looking.
But I don't know anything about them. It looks interesting. There's a huge amount coming out of China that are some pretty crazy looking cars, but I just worry about how well they're going to operate. Let's see. If my 2004 4Runner had new tires and the AC worked, it would be my ideal vehicle.
Nice.
You know what? I've had 4Runners and I love those things. It's just I do a lot of used to do a lot of the off-road stuff, so I would tear suspensions right out from underneath the truck in a heartbeat. Something that was funny, I had a 96 S10 Blazer, the square body before they changed over to the rounded body S10 Blazers. And I would go out and go run in the mud with that thing, and it would literally outdo guys with big tire trucks. No problem whatsoever.
Yeah, those were good, Poe. I had an 87 and a 91 S10.
Yeah.
It was the Blazer type, though. Yeah. Those were especially I had on one of mine. I had the studded tires, and you couldn't stop that thing.
Oh, let's see here. Peggy Bright. My husband gets car bodies from Arizona so they have no rust and then rebuilds. He's currently finishing a 71. Ooh, Buick Satellite turned into a Roadrunner. Wow.
That's
Um,
interesting.
you know, and that's one of the things I'd love if I had a connection out. What, oh, you know what? We got Mark Fisher out there, don't we?
Oh, I didn't see him. I would have
He's
yelled it
not in
out.
here, but we know Mark Fisher. So that might be the
Oh, okay,
gateway
I
to getting
got you.
us some old
Yeah.
bodies out there in the desert. Yeah, boy. Let's see. Lone Star Squirrel. I hate how modern cars beep if your seatbelt isn't buckled. I usually buckle my seatbelt, but it annoys me that a machine is telling me what to do. You know, one of the things that I do is if I'm going to be working on a car or something like that, somebody's car, and I need to just go out and test drive it, and I don't want to put the seatbelt on, I just go to junkyards and I would clip the seatbelt connectors and get, so I get in and just click it right in, and it stops all that annoying stuff. Let's see. And Colonel Brock, this comes into what I was talking about. I don't trust all the electronics and computers in modern cars. That's why I had the 85 F-150 is because there's no computer, carburetor, points of plugs, distributor cap. You never had to worry about any of that stuff. I literally carried my own points and stuff in a Ziploc baggie in the glove box in case anything happened with it. So, but one of the things I hate about these new modern cars is you see it coming out with BMW. I hear Mercedes is talking about it as well. Is that, say, if your car comes with the seat warmer, now you have to pay for a subscription to be able to use that seat warmer. And I don't understand. Why do I have to pay a prescription for something I bought? That's like the right to repair. It's starting to head up in a lot of states, or some states have already passed laws that say you have to allow the owners to be able to repair their own vehicles. They own them. There's a story out of, I can't remember where it was. A guy had a John Deere tractor, one of those big $500,000 tractors, went to change the oil in it, and it sounded an alarm. They couldn't shut the alarm off. They even took the batteries out and it wouldn't stop. Took it to the dealership and was told that he had violated the terms of agreement when he bought it and had voided all warranties on it. And it's just crazy. They put this programming in them so that you can't work on it yourself. You have to have an IT guy to come in and work on your car. So that's kind of stuff I just absolutely hate.
Yeah.
The TVR was one of those old school British car companies. They made really cool. I thought they had started making those again, Alex. Do you know if they do or not? Let's see. Marjan, do you remember the car that was all the stainless? Yeah, the
DeLorean
DMC. Yeah, from Back to the Future. Oh, yeah, I remember that. I've driven in those horrible cars. As a matter of fact, I know where one is sitting right now on flat tires, and it starts up and it runs. But the guy who owns it will not come off that car for anything.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to get it because I'd love to have made a remake of the Back to the Future car. Let's see here. Right, Pro. It's crazy what they're doing with these things where you actually have to pay a subscription to use your seat warmer. That's just insane.
That's crazy.
Let's see. Willie Weed, Mechanic Scotty said if you buy a new Land Rover, you better buy two so you have one to drive. Yeah, that's things I've heard. Let's see here. Your Mojo, the 1991 Isuzu Trooper. I turned it into an off-road and to take money. Yeah, those Troopers, another one could just take a beating.
Yeah, people love those cars.
AB, I think John Deere or Caterpillar are trying to prevent farmers from repairing their machines. It's not a thing. It is. That's why the right to repair laws are so big in so many states right now. Is you have these farmers that are basically, they're on the edge of a razor, whether or not they're going to be able to make money or go bankrupt and have to sell off their farms. Now, and they're having to go out and they're buying these $500,000 machines that they have set up that you're not even allowed to repair yourself. You're not allowed to change your own oil in them without setting off an alarm. So there are quite a few states have come back with the right to repair laws. Another big thing with that is like your phones, your laptops, things like that. And they put in these proprietary things into them so that you can't do it. If you ever want to see something interesting about that, there's a guy named Louis Rosserman Louis Rossman or Rosserman, and he does the right to repair stuff, and he does a lot of the iPhone and stuff like that, and he shows some of the stuff that's going on with that. It's insane what they're doing. And I think it goes back to what Klaus Schwab said: "You will own nothing, and you will be happy." So there's a company here that builds them for old stock parts. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. There's a lot of companies doing that stuff. If you go in about 2 hours north of me here, there's, I believe it's called Steiner's Tractors, and you can pretty much any of the vintage tractors. And I don't know, I think I've shown photos of my old tractor on here before. I have a 1941 Ford 9N tractor, and let me get that. There we go. And we'll share it. Present, share screen. There we go. That's my old girl right there. That's my 1941 Ford 9N. It's 82 years old. It still starts right up. It runs. Everything on it is complete. But if I want to get parts for it, I can literally go to this tractor supply company that's north of me, and they have OEM, their original equipment manufacturer stamped parts that are direct replacements. One of the few places you can still get those parts nowadays. Although I found at Tractor Supply and places like that, I can get like exhausts and minor parts that I need for it. But that's the same motor that was in the Ford cars and trucks back then. That thing is a beast. Let's see, Irma Webb. I'm amazed that a lot of women know about cars like men do. I'm impressed. Yeah, I think that the thing is, how many daughters were out there in the driveway with dad, watching dad work on the car, things like that. Plus, there's a whole new vibe that's going on. We're all working towards inclusion and diversity. Something that amazed me is years back when my kid, it was 10 years ago now. My kids were 16 years old. They had a car that they shared. We have twins, boy girl twins, and they had a car that they shared. And I wanted to teach them how to change their own oil, how to check their oil, how to change, the different fluids in the car, how to change a tire. So if they got a flat tire on the, if they got a flat tire on the side of the road, they know how to change their own tire out, things like that. So here it is. I'm teaching them, and some of my daughter's friends were over, and they were like, "Hey, do you think you could help me too?" And I'm like, so we set up a day, and they all came over. I showed them how to change their oil, how to change out, how to check all their fluids, how to change a tire. And what was hilarious is how many fathers came with their kids to learn how to do it too, because they didn't even know how to do it.
Wow.
So it's so bad. It's so bad nowadays. People don't even know how to do basic things. Most new cars don't even come with a spare tire. Every car we get, we go out and we get a full size spare for it, because we want to make sure that if something goes wrong, we got to change the tire out. We have it all set, and it's a direct replacement, so we don't have to worry about that little donut going flat on us on the way home. The other day, the wife called me, said she had a flat tire. She was about an hour away from me. I said, well, I'll get in the car. She said, don't worry about it. I'll have the tire changed in about 15 minutes. So, it's awesome to see. AB Klaus Schwab would make a great arch criminal to move the plot of the World Cup show. If you've seen him in that, what do you call it? In that spacesuit suit that he's got. Wow. You talk about looking like he should be in Austin Powers or something. Let's see, going down here. There we go. Always helped my dad when he was working on the car in the house. Yeah. I mean, literally we would, the way I learned was just literally junk cars and learning how to get them started and get them going. Hunt, peck, and feel, see how you get it. Your mojo. I had two daughters watch me work on cars. Now my grandson is watching. Yeah, it's awesome. Just keep passing it down. Peggy brought, my daughter learned from a couple of friendly mechanics, and we expect our kids to learn how to service their car once they move on. Plus for me, one of the things that really helped was doing a lot of stuff with the Monster Jam. So not only did I learn how to work on the motors, the suspensions, the drivetrains, all that, learned how to work on the semis that were hauling them, those big diesel semis and all those things, work on the trailers, how to repair all the different parts. And that's, that so I learned a lot of different stuff, and it's kind of jaded on that with Monster Jam because you're talking about big motors. My ride truck that I showed you the pictures of, this thing, that's a 454 that I personally punched out to 468 cubic inches. It had a Predator carburetor on top of it. It wasn't a huge horsepower. It was maybe 400 or 500 horsepower, but for a ride truck, that's a lot of power. Plus, that thing weighed 15,000 pounds, and it's still being used to this day. I sold it off years ago.
Wow.
Anaflax says the F-Type doesn't have a dipstick. I thought that was weird. Yeah, that is really weird. So I guess you just do scheduled changes on it, and if you're noticing anything going on with it, you need to get that car in. Silver Serpent. I love cars. Unfortunately, I can only work on carbureted engines. These side motors are a pain. Yeah. Well, think about me. I mean, with these big meat grabbers I got here, trying to get those in. That's why, like this hand right now, it's got all them nicks on it from working on cars. What about you, Chad? You do much car work?
Well, I did when you could actually do stuff on cars, but yeah, no, and yeah, when I had gas cars, yeah, I would just debate at least tune-ups, oil changes, stuff like that. Yeah.
And the newer these cars get, the smaller they get, and the less room you've got to get in them.
Yep.
My BMW X3, you had to pull off so many plastic pieces that made the engine look bigger and different than it actually was. And what a waste.
I hate the play, as you like you said. The one thing I refuse to do is the oil change on the Prius because everything on the bottom is completely, I'm not taking off all that plastic garbage.
Yeah. It's crazy what they're doing with them nowadays. I like the old thing where you'd open up the hood and you had enough room to put two bodies in there with the engine.
Yeah.
So I remember back in the day, back in working odd jobs, between military and the police department. And, I can remember you could actually go in and put your lunch on the engine before you started lunch, sit it in there on that running engine that heats your lunch up for you. Nowadays you can't even get enough heat in there to do anything with it.
Yeah.
Willie Weed, one thing my dad taught me was don't let mechanics put our lug nuts on with impact wrench.
Yep.
Hand tight only. Yep. Yeah, because believe me, you put them on with that impact, you're going to have a whole lot of fun.
Yep.
I've literally taken taken the bar, put it on there, and had to stand on it. And I'm 265 pounds, and couldn't hardly. Yeah,
that goes for anything. Hand tighten everything before you take a a regular wrench to it. Yep.
I mean, it was different. It's different. Like the monster trucks, we use the impact wrenches because there's so much torque has to be put on those lug nuts, and then we pull them off with impact wrenches. So, and I can remember being in the parking lot of a show after the show was over with, and it's way below zero out there having to work on those trucks and stuff because they wouldn't let us work on them inside the arenas. And man, believe me, those impacts came. We all had hookups on our semis for the air pressure for the brake system. We had hookups on there where we had to quick connect so we could run all of our air tools through the semis air compressor. The hillbillies, we always find a way. So what is it? I can skin a buck, run a trout line, country boy can't survive. So Purple Groovy, welcome. All females should know how to do the basics on their cars. Hello from St. Louis. My daughter just moved back from let me find it real quick. My daughter lived in Hazelwood. My daughter was living in Hazelwood there for a while. So welcome. Let's see. And that's exactly right. It shouldn't matter, boy or girl. They should all know how to at least check their fluids, change the oil if they need to, put oil in, put fluids in their vehicle, and how to change their tires. You are exactly right there, Purple. And make sure my kids knew how to do it. Your dad told you to go do the dishes. Well, I mean, it all depends.
That was different,
Yeah. Chatalicious from Purple Groovy.
Hey.
Let's see. My youngest daughter, 23 years old, just got her dream car, a 58 K. Oh yeah, I love them old caddies, man.
Wow.
Oh yeah. Anaphylaxis. The F-type has an electronic sensor for oil. The sad thing is you can't trust those.
Yeah.
What's my best car joke? I don't know if I have any car jokes. That one about the trooper, about me pulling the guy over, and he said, I was married to this woman for all these years, the most horrible woman I ever saw in my life. I'm driving down the road. I see you pull out and come after me. I thought you were trying to bring her back. So, yeah, that's about the best one I got. What about you, Chad?
Car jokes?
Yeah.
Yeah, none that I could think of.
I can't think of any.
I'll probably think of some later, but yeah. Like I said, I had the old things, people cranking the parts store, asking for parts for 83 Corvette or 89 Fiero. Haha. Not my first day working, but those were funny when, stuff like that.
That's that. Yeah, I don't have any jokes. I'm trying to go back. Let's see. Alex, who needs impact wrenches when Goldie has the blue wrench? Yeah,
True.
she is the impact wrench. You don't have to worry about that.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Jean Narash. Tell me if I'm saying it wrong. I don't want to butcher your name up there. Jean Narash. First time I ever see Clearwater Chad say anything on his channel. Hello.
Well, I'm a car guy, so you gotta speak.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
And this has been a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, it definitely is.
Let's see. I watched the oil myself. I'm the only one who changes it. Yeah. Nowadays it's getting to the point where it's so expensive. I watch for when they have the specials at the oil change places, or the dealerships will come out with them with $20. Get your oil changed. You don't see that anywhere nowadays. It's 40, $50.
Yep.
Let's see. I saw one from Joe there. Your Mojo. I remember I sent my 16-year-old granddaughter to AutoZone to get blinker fluid.
Nice.
You could actually order the fake blinker fluid things. My executive assistant, my secretary at the police department when I retired, Roscoe, what are you doing? I remember she was asking, she didn't know anything about cars, and EC was her name. Beautiful girl, just real nice person. She's like, I don't know what to do. And I said, well, you got to go get some blinker fluid. That's the only way you can check. And she's like, really? And I said, yeah. So she actually went to the AutoZone and all that, trying to find blinker fluid. Hazelwood is only a hop, skip, and a jump for me. Only 15 minutes. Yeah. I'm trying to remember whereabouts in Hazelwood. Was right off the highway. I remember that. So I can't remember it now, but yeah, she lived right there, right off the highway. Let's see, Alex, I got to ride in an fancy. Were you riding around with David Miscavige? Tom Cruise, is that what you was doing, Mr. SP? And the guy told me they're so quiet, people complained they couldn't hear the engine, so they put a microphone and speakers inside. I heard they're doing that with the new electric Ferraris. Because people, you can't, they're expecting that noise from that supercar. So, tease time, our family rule: no license until the car manual was memorized. That's awesome. Can change the tires, oil, battery, check fluids. Didn't matter if you were boy or girl. Awesome. That's how it should be. I'm not so big on the batteries, because I've had batteries blow up on me, and the last thing I want is my kids getting all that acid in their face. And the thing is that you can go to AutoZone or any of those places and get them checked out, but I just didn't want my kids getting in trouble. Let's see here. It's a safety issue to know how to do the basics. We're from a countryside, and you have to have someone pass by. Yeah. And that's one of the things, especially, it doesn't matter if you're in the countryside or if you're in the city nowadays. People just drive right by you on the side of the road with a car broke down. We try to stop. We see somebody broke down. Hey, you got somebody coming? You okay? Okay, cool.
John Stostowski. I drove a foreign car in the 70s. It was a piece of Shih Tzu. That's good. Okay, there we go. If you got any car jokes, put them out there.
Yeah, definitely.
Let's see. See here. Lambo. I'm a Lambo guy. I know the Ferraris are better performing, but I think the Lambos are just sexier. They're just meaner looking cars altogether. Plus, I had the 99 Lambo Diablo. I bought one that had been wrecked in the front end. Got it at a salvage auction for probably less than 10% of what it was worth. And thankfully, I have a friend who has every model of Lamborghini from the Countach forward. He had two of the Diablos. One had been hit in the rear, so I just went over and stole the front end parts off of his.
Nice.
It was all body work.
That's
nothing
cool.
with the suspension, the steering, nothing.
Between those two cars, I would still take the underdog Lotus.
Nah, man, you getting that? You try that Lamborghini Diablo. It's the only supercar I fit into comfortably, except for the Audi R8.
Oh, okay.
So, and I don't really consider Audi a supercar. I think it's right there on the edge, but it's it's their version, but it's a nice car. Yep. There's a YouTuber a bit south of me who has a brake channel. He did a whole thing with giving people blinker fluid.
Nice.
When they didn't signal. I love the one from Russia where they just drive through the parks on the sidewalks and all that, and those guys are sitting there waiting. They put those big stickers right on their windshield. I love that stuff. Let's see. Charlie Watts owns several antique cars. He couldn't drive. He just liked to sit in them. Yeah. There's people I know. If you've ever seen Brian Johnson's collection, my goodness, the former lead singer of AC/DC, the Back in Black guy, Thunderstruck, those songs. He has an amazing collection. Don't stop if I'm by myself, but my husband is a good soul. Yeah. If my wife sees that it is another woman, she'll stop and make sure. Lotus a siege, I think that would be.
Okay. I've heard the name. I can't picture it, but I've heard the name.
All right. Let's see here. I pulled it up. I think it still looks a lot like the Elite, just a little bit snazzier. So
nice.
I think it looks a lot like the Elite. It looks like the Lotus I remember, and I always thought of that as the Elite. But yeah, that's a nice looking car, but those are so tiny. My goodness. All right, let's see here. Get on down with some of these. My sons and daughters have changed my brakes on my cars. That's awesome. That's great.
It is, yeah.
Knowing how to do it, it really helps out quite a bit. Let's see. Laura plays. I'm 60 and still not driving if I had to memorize 1-inch thick manual. Yeah. Let's see here. I like Jay Leno's collection. A lot of older obscure cars. Yeah. Here's one for you. There's a guy who had a salvage yard, and it was Chevy or GM1 sent all of their prototypes to him, and they basically just sent them to him with no orders, no contract, anything. They said, here are these cars. Can you do something with them for us? Here, a junkyard. They thought he was going to scrap them out. He took them all and put them over in the corner because they basically paid him to take the cars, but they didn't say what they didn't directly tell him we want them junked. And so he parked them all over in the corner, put them into one of the big, I think it was Barrett Jackson or something, but sold like $22 million worth of cars at that auction. Let's see. The Lotus of Spirit was the James Bond car in The Spy Who Loved Me. I've got to go back and take a look at that one. The Siege is basically a spruced up race car version of the Elise. Okay, that's what I was thinking. Did you know that Ferrari was making a car that you could never take from the Ferrari factory? They kept it in a storage area for you, climate controlled and all that. And once or twice a year, you were able to go to Ferrari and take it out on the track and drive it, but you could never take it from the factory. And I'm just like, I don't get it. Tea time, off topic, but when you said blinker fluid, it reminded me of my friend's dad told me to go to the hardware store and get a can of checkered paint. Yeah. I've done things like that with the kids. As let's see, your emoji. I always stop if a woman is broke down, hoping to get get a number. There you go. Who was it? Somebody about what's his name? The serial killer that they did this special on Netflix that all the women were in love with, and they were like, this guy's driving around in a baby poop brown Volkswagen and was getting women all of the time with this. He would basically tell them, my car's broke down, can you help me? Wow. That's insane. Let's see. Looking down through here. We recently got a Sprinter while the car was serviced. Now that was fun. The minivan. Okay, I know what you're talking about. Yeah. I don't think so. Someone reversed into my grandfather once. Instead of fixing the dent, he just put a paintbrush and wrote "oops" next to it. Yeah. Let me see here. I don't know if it's on that picture. No. There was I'd went a little bit crazy with the truck and I bounced it too high, and when it landed with the way the suspension was, it came up in the rear wheel well and dented it up, and I literally painted a Band-Aid over the dent with an ouch.
Nice.
Let's see here. My son was in high school. I think he was 17 at the time. He was they were literally in the line to go into school, and he rear-ended another kid's car. And I got hold of the father and I said, hey, I'm giving you a phone number. Call this guy up, take it to his shop. He will fix the car. I will pay for it. Don't worry about it. And the guy was like, I can't believe you're doing this. And I said, well, I want my son to know the proper values. And I think that's one of the things nowadays is everybody is so litigious. They want to sue for everything. That it actually surprises them when someone actually does the right thing. And it's sad that you have to be an example nowadays. There you go. Witness, Ted Bundy. Yep. That's who I was talking about. Was it? No, Dahmer. I'm sorry. Ted Bundy. Bundy was the clown, wasn't he?
Dahmer was the guy that ate people, didn't he?
Yeah. It may have been. I can't remember which one it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dahmer was a cannibal.
Yeah, they found the stuff in his fridge and stuff.
Let's see. Peace and love to. That is crazy talk. My car is at the factory and I get to go visit it. That's exactly how it was. Wow. Let's see. What about the drummer for Def Leppard? Rolled his Corvette, lost an arm, and continued to play drums. Yeah, he. I think he did like one or two tours after that. They had to make a whole. Had to make a custom set of drums for him so he could play it differently without that other arm. It was, I mean, look at the girl who she was attacked by a shark while she was surfing, lost an arm, and kept surfing. I mean, people got the right drive in them. They ain't stopping them. So what's that, Chad?
Which you love, yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. My father-in-law gave us a 77 Ford Pinto with the bubble windows before we bought our first car together. It was an experience. Oh, I bet it was. But those little Pintos, man, you could muscle car them things out like crazy and do it for cheap. That's one of the things that's so appealing about like the Ford Festivas or the Fiestas or whatever they are, or the little cars, the little hot hatchbacks. They're inexpensive to buy. And you put a little bit of money into them, suddenly you got this sleeper that's beating V8s going down the highway. It's crazy. I understand why they do it. I just hate when they put those nasty exhausts on them, though. Oh, John Wayne Gacy was the clown. Okay, all right. Yeah, I'm not too up on all my serial killers.
Me neither.
Old white van with a sign freaking. Oh no. Let's see. There it is. Ted Bundy then. He drove a VW and had a fake cast on his arm. There you go. Now, I what gets me is how many women that are just enthralled by the guy. It kills me. let's see. Witness was super good looking. Lots of crazy women had the hots for him. He's gone, and there's still women go crazy for him. Let's see here. Silver Serpent. Fords don't die; they just get repurposed, compatible parts, etc. That's all of them nowadays. Believe me. Cars nowadays, if they're over 5 years old, they're worth more in parts than they are as a whole car.
Yeah.
Ooh, Willie Weed had a Pinto wagon totaled a week after getting my license. Wow. You know what I love are the old Volkswagen buses, the Volkswagen vans. Oh, I love those things.
I think those are cool too.
Yeah. Well, let's see. The Ford names Fix or Repair Daily. Fiat is Fix It Again, Tony. Ford, I can't say that one. That was the Ford guys will say, of course, it's first on waste day. So I like them all. The Fords, the Chevys, the Dodges, I loved them all. I like most kinds of cars. There's some of them that are just cheap, impractical little vehicles that they use. I'd never have a smart car because I don't think it's smart to have one. You get hit in that thing, you're done. So, all right. Well, we're 2 hours and 16 minutes into it, folks. And I'm going to get off of here. I've got some edible waiting for me so I can chill out.
This was really fun, though. I can go all night talking about cars.
We're going to have to do this again.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Keep my wife in your thoughts and prayers. She is on her way to Chicago as part of our courier service. They do a weekly run to Chicago. The guy who normally does it, he had some family events going on, so my wife's making the run to Chicago and back tonight. It's about 12 hours total time that she's going to be doing that. Marjan, Michigan. That's the only place I've ever been a police officer in is Michigan. Let's see here, just making sure. Make sure we're not. Yeah, thank you, Alex. Yeah, I think it's been a great stream. I love,
it was a lot of fun.
One of my big things is I love interacting with everyone. Duncan, yes, yeah, we got out from behind Double Tap's cloud there, and now we see.
Now we can chill with Duncan too. That's good.
Yeah. So, folks, as always, thank you very much. Appreciate each and every one of you. I love these kinds of streams where we can just sit and talk and have a good time together and talk about things that every one of us are dealing with. Tomorrow night, I'll be back on, and we're going to be talking about how Scientology is crumbling and the damage that's going on with that and what they're doing, how they're trying to keep themselves relevant in this time and try to act like they're not losing all of their money. But the fact is, we all know what's going on with it. Chad, you're still doing a lot of streams and getting things going with yours. What's going on with you next?
Oh, good question, Paul. I'm just going to keep doing what was I going to say? The monuments and the pizza places and doing the things that people want. Yep. That's
the main thing. And folks, if something that I've been talking with some big YouTubers as of recent, trying to get some of them on to do some interviews and things like that. But one of the things I've been finding is that they've been telling me, make sure that when in these live streams and such, not only just hit the like, but go into the actual comment section, not the live stream comment. And if you just put a hi in there or something like that, that helps with the algorithms as well. So let's see here from Paul State Alex. You do a live stream with the Degraded Daughters Dianetics about the PI that's been fall. Oh yeah, get me in touch with them, Alex. You know, I love that stuff. I'll love talking with anybody about that stuff. So thank you very much for joining us and spending 2 hours of your life here. We really appreciate each and every one of you. And as always, folks, you get one shot at this. Make it count. Chad, any last words?
Oh, just don't forget about the chat-a-thon Monday, guys.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot all about that.
I almost did too. We'll talk about
Monday night. Alex and I are going to talk here hopefully pretty soon, and we'll be able to we're going to be the first hour there. We're going to be doing some good stuff. Hopefully it'll be some really good content for you. Remember, this is all going for a very great cause. Mike Render, who is one of the OGs in the push against Scientology, As if you don't know already, he was diagnosed with late stage esophageal cancer, and I believe there may have been something else in there. He's been going through treatments, just posted a video recently on his channel. Love seeing that he's doing better. So Monday night, one of the things is that without insurance, that medical treatment for that is highly expensive. I believe it was $29,000 a month is the cost of it. So
Something like
Monday
that.
night, we're all coming together as a show of love and support for Mike and his family, and seeing how much money we can raise so Mike can help. It can help with Mike's treatment. So until next time, folks, thank you very much. And as always, make it count.